The Singapore CPF system has a B+ rating, which according to the Asian grading system, it is considered below average. All jokes aside, it's actually ranked 5th globally and 1st in Asia. However, despite being ranked one of the best pension systems in the world, many Singaporeans still remain very skeptical of it. That's why in this video, we'll be looking at why the CPF system failed to score an A rating, what could it have done better, and more importantly, can we really trust CPF to take care of our retirement? But before I start, do join my 10,000 members Telegram chat group to discuss or ask any questions that you may have. First up, let's try to understand why CPF did not score an A rating. For that, we can look at how they calculate the Mercer CFA Institute Global Pension Index. Here, you can see that this index is based on 3 sub-indexes: adequacy, sustainability, and integrity. To put it simply, adequacy looks at whether a pension system is able to provide sufficient retirement income to meet basic living standards while maintaining quality of life. Meanwhile, sustainability is about how sustainable the system is, based on factors such as total assets, demographics, and economic conditions. And lastly, integrity assesses the governance, transparency, and trustworthiness of the pension system. Each of these sub-indexes carry different weightage. Adequacy makes up 40%, while sustainability is 35%, and integrity takes the remaining 25%. So how well did CPF do on each of these sub-index? On adequacy, CPF actually got a pretty decent score of 79.8 and is ranked 10 among the other countries. Then on the sustainability sub-index, CPF got a slightly lower score of 74.3, but despite that, it is still ranked 6 as compared to the other countries. And finally, on the integrity sub-index, CPF got a pretty good score of 83, though it is only ranked 12 when compared to other countries. Now, given that CPF did not get a full score, it means that there are areas which the CPF could improve on. For this, the report identified a few action points. 1. It suggests that CPF could reduce the barriers to establishing tax-approved group corporate retirement plans. They are speaking the language of gods. But according to ChatGPT, the government could do more to encourage employers to offer additional retirement plans on top of CPF, such as building on the existing supplementary retirement scheme or even introduce private corporate pension schemes. Not just that, they could include more tax incentives for both employers and employees to contribute, while creating a more flexible, attractive ecosystem beyond just CPF. Quick pause. If you are looking for the cheapest broker to start your investing journey, check out Interactive Brokers. It has the lowest fees for stocks, ETFs, options, and more. Not just that, Interactive Brokers lets you easily research stocks. Like, you want to check out companies' financials? Here it is. You want to check out analyst ratings? Here's a bunch of them. It even has free technical insights which tells you where the stock might possibly go next. So sign up to Interactive Brokers today, and let's get back to the video. Next, the second suggestion is for the governments to open CPF to non-residents. While this idea is well-intentioned, it comes with practical challenges. That's because many foreign workers in Singapore are here only for the short term, which makes it difficult for the governments to manage and invest these funds effectively. At the same time, contributors may not fully benefit from CPF due to the limited vesting periods and restricted withdrawal options. But on that note, foreigners do have the option of contributing to their SRS account, which can still be used for their retirement planning. Besides that, the report also suggests raising the age at which CPF members can begin accessing their savings, which are allocated for retirement. Again, while this sounds like a good idea to improve the sustainability of CPF, but I know lah, this is definitely not a popular move, as everyone will KP if this is indeed were to happen. Case in point, France did raise the pension age and that resulted in a nationwide protest. But nevertheless, we do have the flexibility to postpone our CPF life payout age to 70 in return for higher payouts. Lastly, the report also recommends introducing a requirement to include income projections in members' annual statements. While this isn't currently implemented, CPF members can already use the monthly payout estimator tool to get an estimate of the potential CPF life payouts during retirement. Now, even though Singapore's pension system is already highly ranked, just like our parents, I also wanted to compare with other countries to see why they were able to rank higher and what they did better. For this, the 4 countries that have the best pension systems in the world are Netherlands, Iceland, Denmark, and Israel. One interesting that I noticed is that 3 out of these 4 countries are from Europe. Likewise, Finland and Norway, which were in the same grade as Singapore, are also in Europe. Not too sure why many of them are able to consistently score high, but I have a feeling that it has to do with their culture, where European societies tend to place a strong emphasis on social welfare and collective responsibility. But nevertheless, let's focus on the Netherlands, since they have the highest ranking. From what I found, the reason they consistently take the top spot is because they use a 3-pillar system. The first pillar is a state pension, where as long as you are a resident in the Netherlands, whether you are a foreigner or a citizen, and are contributing to their social security system, you qualify for this. And the longer you live there, the higher pension rights you will get, up till you accrue the full pension after 50 years of residency. So this is quite similar to our CPF Life, but this is applicable for all residents. The second pillar is an occupational pension, where both the employer and the employee contributes to it. About 95% of workers have this, and it is typically managed by non-profit funds that are separate from the company. And lastly, the third pillar will be your own individual savings and insurance. Together, these 3 pillars can help to provide a comprehensive, well-balanced approach to retirement savings. Because of that, it is no wonder it is ranked the highest in the index. So these are definitely things which CPF could learn from. But now comes the million-dollar question. Can we actually trust CPF for our retirement? The biggest clue for this is the fact that CPF monies which are invested in special government securities carry the highest AAA credit rating by international credit rating agencies. This is even higher than DBS, which holds an AA- rating. So in theory, if you are comfortable trusting your money with DBS, then CPF should be seen as even more secure, since it is backed by Singapore government securities which offer a higher level of stability and protection, and are guaranteed by the government itself. Not only that, the returns are generated through investments managed by GIC, which has delivered a solid 20-year real return of 3.9%. While this 3.9% might seem little, it's important to note that this is a real return, meaning it accounts for inflation, so the nominal return would actually be higher. But despite all that, many people still have trust issues when it comes to CPF, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. CPF policies can change at any time, sometimes in ways that can catch people off guard. One good example is the recent closure of the special accounts after 55. This means retirees can no longer treat their SA like a high-interest savings account to earn a risk-free 4% while enjoying flexible withdrawals. Not just that, many of the things in our CPF can be changed. For example, CPF account interests have often been changed in the past. This means the 4% minimum interest for our SA, MA, and RA is not guaranteed to be there forever, and may one day change depending on GIC's returns as well as demographic shifts. Likewise, the CPF Life monthly payouts can also change if more people live longer in the future, as well as the interest rate environment that we are in. So as you can see, there's always policy risk when it comes to CPF. And given the forced savings nature of it, I kind of understand why some people don't really like it. But before you rush to Hong Lim Park to protest, it is important to remember that these changes are usually for a good reason. The government typically avoids making such moves unless they really have no choice. For example, given that Singapore has plans to eventually raise the retirement age to 70 years old, could it be also possible that CPF Life payout age will one day be deferred from 65 all the way to 70? If you look back at history, CPF payouts used to start as early as age 55, where members could either withdraw their savings in full or receive monthly payouts. But then in 1999, the payout age was raised to 62, and over time, it was gradually increased to 65, which is the standard today. However, back in 2007, the Manpower Minister at the time proposed raising the CPF payout age to 67 to align with the re-employment age. However, due to strong opposition from the public, this proposal was eventually adjusted and resettled on 65 instead. Now, the reason the drawdown age was increased back then was because life expectancy has been steadily going up from 65 to around 83 now. However, given that we have now reached an inflection point, our life expectancy is unlikely to go up significantly in the near future without some medical breakthroughs. Because of that, the CPF withdrawal age is unlikely to change in the near future either. That being said, whether you trust CPF or not, one thing is clear: CPF payouts alone are not enough to fully pay for our retirement. That's because when you achieve the FRS, you can only expect to get a monthly payout of around 1.6k to 1.7k a month, starting from the age of 65. According to the latest household expenditure survey, A single elderly aged 65 and over spends an average of $1,384 a month in 2023. While that may sound sufficient, keep in mind that your monthly expenses will continue to rise due to inflation, whereas the CPF Life payouts under the standard plan is fixed for life. Not just that, your money expenditure during retirement also highly depends on the kind of lifestyle that you want. So, if you want to have an atas lifestyle, like live in a private property, own a high-end car, only go to private hospitals and so on, then you should expect to pay more. As one Redditor puts it, CPF isn't meant to be your entire retirement strategy, but rather a fail-safe and backup plan to make sure that everyone can have at least the minimum amounts required to survive. So what does this mean for you? It means that aside from relying on CPF, you also need to invest your money. For that, one popular approach is the Kueh Lapis investment strategy. Just like the layers of Kueh Lapis, you start by building a strong base. This means topping up a CPF special accounts and Medisave accounts up to the full retirement sum and basic healthcare sum respectively. Once that foundation is in place, you can layer on with broad-based diversified investments like an S&P 500 index fund, a global index fund, or their equivalents. And if you are still looking to grow your wealth further, you can then add on another layer with higher risk, higher reward investments, such as growth ETFs like the Triple Q. Each layer built on the last, creating a solid and diversified retirement plan. In short, while the CPF system is one of the highest ranked pension systems globally, it should be seen as a foundation and not your entire retirement plan. That's why if you wish to secure your retirements, you still need to take active steps to save, invest, and build additional income streams. Anyway, that's all for this video. Hopefully, you found it useful. Like, share, and subscribe as I'll be posting new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.